Hello, in this video, I'm going to go through my personal Liesa Shroud of Dusk deck. It's primarily a Lifegain deck trying to win with Test of Endurance, Paladar Sovereign, or either Flex Reservoir, and just cheese out my opponents, gain a ton of life, and then take advantage of the fact we have a ton of life gain and get to start with 40 life. Let's get into it. First up, Feldor Sovereign. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 more life, you win the game. You start with 40 life. You can get this into play as quickly as possible. Have already gained a little bit of life. You can usually win the game. You have to protect it, which is tricky. There's a couple instances of sorceries that can give it indestructible, but really we have to protect it. We don't have blue enough counter magic. How do you do that? I don't know. But if you have enough life and can protect this creature, give it indestructible or hexproof, you could win. Righteous Valkyrie, 2 and a white for a 2/4 flyer. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, and as long as you have at least 7 more life than your starting life total, creature control gets +2/+2. So as soon as you have 47 or more life, everything gets +2/+2. All of your life gain, all of your lifelink creatures get bigger. Everything just gets bigger, harder to deal with. And you have tons of angels and clerics in this deck that you can gain life equal to their toughness. Divinity of Pride is a black or a white, a black or a white or a black and a white, or a white and a black. For a flying lifelink 4/4, and it gets +4/+4 as long as you have 25 or more life, which means it comes into play at the beginning, early in the game. It's a 8/8 lifelinking flyer, which is fantastic. Regal Bloodlord, 3 white, black, 2/4 flyer. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 bat. There are a lot of artifacts and enchantments that I'm going to get into that whenever an opponent does something, whenever a player does something, you gain life and can trigger as many of your life gain effects as possible, including the ones that trigger when it checks on your opponent's turn. Morbid Opportunist. We're not playing blue. We're not playing green. We need access to card draw. Whenever one or more creatures die, draw a card. It can be your creatures. It can be an opponent's creature. It can be your opponent attacked a 4/4 beast into a 4/4. They both die. You draw a card. Fantastic. Vargroth, Blood Sky Sire, 2 and a black for a 2/3 Death Touch with Boast. Target player searches the library for a card, shuffles it, and puts it on top. You have a lot of cards you want to tutor to win the game with. You're trying to win the game primarily with your combo pieces, so Vargroth can attack and become a tutor. Treasury Thrall, 4 white and a black for a 4/4 with Extort. Whenever you cast a spell, you may pay a black or a white. If you do, each opponent loses life. You gain that much life. If you have any extra mana, you can just throw it at Extort. And Extort also works not only whenever you cast this spell, but any of your spells. And whenever it attacks, you may return an artifact, creature, or enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. You're playing an insane amount of... I am playing. You will probably be playing too if you build like me. An insane amount of artifacts, an insane amount of enchantments. That's just this pile here. And you have a ton of creatures. Every time you attack, you're going to get something back, which is great. Nighthawk Scavenger, 1 black, flying, death touch, lifelink. Its power is 1 plus a number of card types among cards in your opponent's graveyards. So, battles, planeswalkers, artifact, enchantment, lands, creatures, instants, sorceries. This thing's going to get a huge power. It's going to be able to kill anything that's thrown at it if you block with it. Plus, death touch just guarantees it kills everything. Vizkopa Guildmage, white and a black, 1 white, black. Whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. This is a combo piece with Revenge. And then there's also another card that doubles your life, but any card that doubles your life total. So Revenge says double your life total. If you go from 40 to 80, whenever you gain life, the game sees you gaining that 40. It sees you doubling your life total as you gaining that much life. You gain 40, and then your opponents each lose 40. You go from 50 to 100, even 25 to 50 is going to deal a ton of damage to your opponents. Great card. Lunarch Veteran. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life, and then whenever it dies, you can disturb it from your graveyard, and it says whenever another creature leaves the battlefield, gain a life. Not bad. Just a 1/1 that gains life, and then later can become something else that gains life. It's not great. It's not bad. Angel of Destiny, 3 white, 2/6 flying, double strike. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 more life than your starting life total, each player it attacked this turn loses the game. Another way to win. So every single time something you control deals combat damage to something, you gain life and they gain life. And then at your end step, if you have 55 or more life, anything that this thing attacked is just dead, which is great. Any player Pontoff of Blight also has Extort and then gives other creatures you control of Extort. So, anytime you cast a spell, you can pay a white or a black for as many instances of Extort as you have. Each opponent loses a life, and you gain that much life, which is probably 3. So you gain 3 life, and they all take 1, which is just another instance of life gain, another instance of life drain. But great. Loris of the Dream Den. We have a lot of cheap creatures and a lot of artifacts that cost 2 mana, so being able to cast this from our graveyard. Plus, it's just a lifelinker. Great card. Lotto. I don't know, I should know this because people in the comments are going to bully me, but Corrupt Sheriff. White, black, 2/1. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, you lose a life and create a treasure. We don't have green. We need access to ramp. We don't have red. We need access to treasures. So we have a ton of life. We can lose 1 or 2 of them to take advantage of any player casting their second spell. And give ourselves some treasures to ramp with. Great card. Rock, Faith Mender, 3 white, 1/5 creature, Rhino Monk with lifelink. If you would gain life, you gain twice so much life instead. If you doubled your life total, instead, you tripled it, which is great. You gain 1 life whenever a player casts a blue spell. You gain 2 life. It's great. It doesn't get double the trigger, but you do gain twice the life. Witch of the Moors, 3 black, 4/4 Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature they control, and you return up to 1 target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Every of your end step, you're probably going to have gained life. Everyone sacks something, and you get something back from your graveyard, which is great. Wall of Reverence, at the beginning of your end step, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control. If you just have Liesa in play, it's a 5 mana, 5/5. You can just gain 5 life. I haven't actually read the commander yet. Liesa, Shroud of Dusk is 2, a white, and a black. Rather than pay 2 for each previous time you've cast a spell from the command zone this game, pay 2 life that many times. It's a 5/5 with flying and lifelink, and whenever a player casts a spell, they lose 2 life. So you can just punish your opponents by having them lose 2 life, and you don't have to worry about paying the commander tax every single time it dies. You can just pay off any amount of life, and you have a ton of life. So they just, not any amount of life, but you can afford to pay the 2 life instead of the 2 mana, the 4 life instead of the 4 mana, the 6 on the 3rd time. It's just great. Ravos, Soul Tender, 3 white, black, 2/2 flyer. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So everything gets a little bit bigger, and then you can just keep getting things back from your graveyard into your hand. You're either going to win right away with a combo piece, or you're going to go into a long, grindy game where you just have the most life the entire time. And this is great in those grindier, longer games. Kuranos, Hound of Athros. White, black, 1, 3/3 creature, legendary creature, Hound, Vigilance, Menace, lifelink. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, and players can cast spells from graveyards. They can't reanimate, they can't cast flashback, just gives you some value while being a 3/3 with lifelink, with menace, with vigilance, with menace. So this can be a decent attacker because they have to block with 2 things if they can block it at all, and then it can also hang back and be a blocker and just keep gaining you those instances of 3 life. Marauding Blight Priest, 2 and a black for a 3/2 creature vampire cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Every instance of life, they lose a life. You extort, great. You gain a life for them casting a blue spell, they lose a life, great. Leonin Elder, whenever an artifact comes into play, you may gain a life. Whenever your opponents play an artifact land, whenever any player plays a treasure, whenever a treasure comes into play, you gain a life. An equipment, you gain a life. They have any of your opponents too. It's not just your artifacts, which is great. Runetail, Kitesoon Ascendant. If you have 30 more life, you flip it. So it's basically as soon as this thing enters, it flips, and then prevent all damage to be dealt to creatures you control. It's an enchantment now. It's pretty good. Vayne Witch Coven, 2 black, 3/3 menace. Whenever you gain life, you may play black. If you do, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When you get into these artifacts and enchantments, you're going to see the witches are going to gain a ton of instances of life, if you haven't noticed already, and just paying black to get any of our creatures back from our graveyard is great. Crested Sun Mare, 3 white, 5/5. Other horses you control have indestructible. And at the beginning of each end step, so this thing checks every player's end step. If you gained life this turn, make a 5/5. Fantastic card. You will win the game if this sits in play for too long. Esper Sentinel, 1 white for an artifact creature, human soldier, 1/1. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless they pay X. You see access to card draw. That's why I play it. Campbell, Console of Allocation, 1 white, black, 2/3 legendary creature, human advisor. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Every single time they cast an instant, a sorcery, an enchantment, an artifact, a planeswalker, they lose 2, you gain 2, trigger all of your life gain stock. Great card. Veto, Thorn of Dusk Rose, 2 and a black, 1/3. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. It's only target opponent, but every single time you gain 2 life from something happening, 2 life from combo, doubling your life total, you just kill a player, which is fantastic. Ajani's Pride Maid, every single time you gain life, put a +++ and counter on it. Just a lot of fun and really makes the game feel like it's spiraling in your direction because every single time you gain life, you got to keep track of all of your triggers. So having as many triggers as possible just feels great. And Ajani's Pride Maid does that. Heron of Hope, 3 white. It's a 2/3 flyer. Whenever you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead, and you can give it lifelink. So every single time you gain life, it increases by 1. Great card. Soul Warden, whenever another creature enters under any battlefield, you play it or any of your opponents, you gain a life. Sun, Scorch, Regent, whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a ++ counter on it, and you gain a life. Every single time they do anything, you want to gain a life and trigger all of your cards. Now I'm going to get into the artifacts and enchantments. A lot of cards to gain us life here, so buckle up. Test of Endurance, 2 white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 50 more life, you win the game. Great card. Aetherflux Reservoir, whenever you cast a spell, gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn, pay 50, deal 50. Once you get up to 150 life, you can just doop, kill all of your opponents. Leyline of Hope, if it's in your opening hand, you can play it for free, just start with it on the battlefield, or it costs 2, a white and a white. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead, and as long as you have 7 or more life than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. Just like the previous Angel from Kaldheim that did it, if you have 47 or more life, all your creatures get +2/+2, which is great. Talisman of Hierarchy, you just need artifacts. It loses you life, doesn't really matter. Angelic Accord, each end step, if you gain 4 or more life this turn, put a 4/4 onto the battlefield. Great card. Marble Diamond, Life Insurance, 3 white, black. It has Extort. So every single time you cast a spell, you can pay a white or a black, and each opponent loses life, and you gain that much life. Whenever a non-token creature dies, you lose a life, create a treasure. So we don't really care about losing a couple life because we're gaining a ton of life, and just making treasures and keeping the whole train going is great. Arcane Signet, every deck. Sense, Throne of Eldraine, wants to play this card. Great card. Worm's Tooth. I have every single one of these artifacts in here that are 2 mana. Whenever a player casts an X spell, gain a life. So whenever a player casts a green spell, gain a life. Whenever a player casts an artifact spell, you may gain a life. So that's any player, not just you. Warmth. Whenever one of your opponents plays a red spell, you gain 2 life. Soul Talisman. We just need to ramp as much as possible, so I found this card to be great in this kind of deck. Bastion of Remembrance, 2 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever it enters, create a 1/1. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life, and you gain 1 life. So every single time something dies, you get a trigger. 2 things die, you get 2 triggers. Great card, stacks super well. Kraken's Eye, whenever a player casts a blue spell, you may gain a life. Well of Lost Dreams, 4 colorless for an artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life you gained. If you do, draw X cards. So all of your instances are just 1 life. Just pay 1, draw a card. It's great. It's fantastic. Tablet of the Guilds, whenever it enters, choose 2 colors. You're going to choose white and you're going to choose black. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's at least one of the chosen colors, you gain 1 life for each of the chosen colors that it is. So this says every single time you cast a white spell, gain a life. Every time you cast a black, gain a life. If you cast a white and a black, gain 2. Soul Ring, Demon's Horn, whenever a player, including you, casts a black spell, you may gain a life. Tempting Contract, 4 colorless. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure. So you can pass some wealth around, give them an offer they can't refuse, and get some treasures. Painful Quandary, whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. I kind of built this deck thinking, I'm peening my opponents every single time I gain life. Let's take advantage by having them discard cards or having them lose 5 life. Great card. Follower Stone, it's just ramp. Trespasser's Curse. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under enchanted player's control, they lose a life and you gain a life. Put this on the zombie opponent that's going to keep making a bunch of zombies. Put this on the humans opponent that's going to make a bunch of humans tokens. Put this on the squirrel opponent. Put this on any kind of opponent that just makes a bunch of tokens. Identify who that is and stick it on them. You're going to gain a ton of instances of life. It's really important to note that you don't really care about gaining a ton of life. You care about a ton of instances, since you have a lot of cards that say, oh, whenever you gain life, do this. Whenever you gain this, do this. Angel's Feather, whenever a player casts a white spell. Monologue Tax, whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure. Charcoal Diamond. Blind Obedience has X Torch and slows your opponents down. It's just 2 mana for an enchantment. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tap. Slow down your opponents and gain instances of life. Sanctimony, whenever an opponent taps a mountain for mana, you may gain a life. This is insane against a mono red opponent. And honestly, there are so many mountains. Cards are just mountain forests, mountain islands. They're, tap lands, shock lands, triomes, tons of mountains that just your opponents instantly have. Smothering Tithe, Authority of the Counselors, 1 white for an enchantment. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. Slow your opponents down, and every single time something enters under their control, you gain a life. If each of your opponents play a creature every time around the table, you gain 3 instances of life, which is great. Boon Reflection, if you had gained life, you gain twice that much life instead. At this far in the video, I do not have to explain why this card is good. Claire Class, 1 white. If you had gained a life, you gain that much plus 1 instead. 4 mana, level it up to 2. Whenever you gain life, put a ++ encounter on target creature you control. 5 mana, level it up to 3, and whenever you do, return something from your graveyard to the battlefield, you gain life equal to its toughness. This is just another card that's like, oh, you gain life, you gain that much +1. Great card. And then once you have like 4 mana laying around as a sorcery, you can just, now every single time you gain life, put a ++ counter on something. Sanguine Bond, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Great card. I don't have the combo piece. I can't think of what it's called. Exquisite Blood is the enchantment that whenever an opponent loses life, you gain life, and it's like a combo with this. Now that I'm just waiting for it to be reprinted one more time. As soon as it gets reprinted one more time, it's going to be cheap. That's what I tell myself at least. Whatever. Whip of Erebos, 2 and a black, legendary enchantment artifact. Creatures you control have lifelink. And then 2, a black tap. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile at the beginning of next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile it instead. So you can just get something back for 1 turn, but everything has lifelink, which is great. And then Ashes of the Abhorrent, white, 1. Players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards, and whenever a creature dies, you gain a life. So this isn't just when you kill something. If an opponent attacks another opponent with a 3/3 and they block with a 3/3 and something, both of those dies, you gain 2 life. And just kind of slows your opponents down from casting things from graveyards. It can mess you up, possibly, but it's going to be destroyed by a different player, so it's fine. Now I'm going to get into our instants and sorceries. First up, we already went over Revenge, but just doubling your life total. It counts as gaining that much life, and then target opponent loses half their life rounded up. Going to be okay. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from give it to the battlefield. It's okay. You really want to cast the Revenge side of this. If you're reviving something with this, you're probably not on the path to victory. Heliod's Intervention, white X. You either destroy X target artifacts or enchantments, which is just a significantly better mode than just gaining twice X life. But if you can just win the game this turn, do it. But just paying 3 and a white, destroying 3 problematic artifacts, 2 enchantments and 1 artifact, but just having the choice of just gaining a ton of life makes this card even more playable, and it's already great. In Light Tutor, you have so many combo pieces that are artifacts and enchantments. Putting them on top of your library is great. Killing Wave, X, and a black. For each creature, its controller sacrifices it unless they pay X life. Now, you have a ton of life. If you can just dump your entire board into this, let's say you picked black 7, everyone has to sacrifice almost everything they control, and you can really, really consider what you have to get rid of because you have a ton of extra life. Beacon of Immortality, double your life total and then shuffle it back into your library. Demonic Tutor, we are a combo deck through and through. Flawless Mover, if you control your commander, play it for free. Everything gains indestructible. It's pretty good. The sole singular Planeswalker, soar on. As long as it's your turn, creatures and Planeswalkers you control have lifelink. +2, it deals 1 damage to target creature, target player, or Planeswalker. So it's just +2. Deal a damage to your opponent, and you gain a life, so it's an instant of life. -X, return target creature card, convert a mana cost X or less from your giver to the battlefield. So it's just like, you know, ping something, it has 6 loyalty, and then go get back a regent a different turn. I don't know. It's okay. It's a lot of fun. I think it used to be a significantly better card back when I made this deck, back when like Commander Legends first came out, but it's probably been power crept out. Now I'm going to get into the lands. I'm just going to skip over them quickly unless they are something particularly interesting. Vault of Champions, Swamp, Cathalacthwain, enters tapped unless you control a swamp. Tap, add black, and then 1 black, tap, draw a card, you lose life, equals the number of cards in your hand. You have a ton of life, you're okay losing life. Isolated Chapel, Iganjo, Spire of Industry. You are okay losing life to make sure you always have white or black. Because you have a ton of life, and you have a ton of artifacts too. Snow-covered plains, swamp, Takanuma, bright climb, swamp, faded heath, godless shrine. Now, Amiria Shattered Skyclave. It's a bad plains, so it enters tapped unless you pay 3 life. But on the other side, it's just 7 mana for 2 4/4s with flying, and then non-angel creatures you control get indestructible on zone of turn. So you can have access to 2 Sarah Angels. But I guess I don't have the vigilance. 2 4/4s or a bad plains. Great card in this any kind of deck, especially one that doesn't care about losing the 3 life. Verdant Catacombs, Fetch Land, Tainted Field, Exotic Orchard, Sinkhole, Marsh Flats, Swamp, Command Tower, Snarl, Corlos, the Cave. You don't care about losing life. Plains, and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Those are all of the cards in my personal Liesa Shroud of Dusk deck. If you enjoyed this deck, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you listened to me ramble on about my deck for 22 minutes, you probably enjoyed the video. Please consider giving a like and a comment. The like and comments boost engagement and do great for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and may your top decks be ever in your favor. Thank you.